This is the exit card problem I gave at the end of the last class. I'm going to run through a couple different ways you could solve this problem. The first is I'm just going to use the properties that deal with what to do when we're dividing and we have the same base. So that tells us that since I have x squared divided by x to the negative first, I can subtract my exponents. So I'm going to get x, and then it's to the second minus a negative 1. And the same thing with the y. I get y to the negative third minus 2. And subtraction works the same way with exponents as it does anywhere else. So 2 minus negative 1 is like 2 plus 1. So that gives me x to the third. Then y went to the negative third minus 2. Well, negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. Then the last step is, with all these problems, I'm going to expect the final answer to use only positive exponents. So if I want to do that, the x cubed stays where it is, but the y to the negative fifth, I rewrite that as 1 over y to the fifth. And then I just multiply these together. I can put the x cubed over 1, so I get x cubed divided by y to the fifth. Now, along the way, you can write as many or as few of those steps as you want, but that's one way you can think about the process. I subtracted my exponents and then converted my negative exponent to a positive exponent. Now I'm going to show you one other way you could do this, which, the way I showed you could be enough, but let's look at another way we could think this through. So another way I could think this through is I could say, you know what, I don't like negative numbers. Let's just make all my negative exponents positive exponents right from the start. So what's going to happen is I'm going to keep starting with x, I'm going to keep the x squared where it is, and then I'm going to move that x to the negative first up to the numerator right next to the x squared. Okay? Now a negative 1 becomes in the denominator becomes a positive 1 in the numerator. Then I'm going to leave my y squared in the denominator, and then I'm going to take that y to the negative third power, and a y to the negative third in the numerator becomes a y to the third in the denominator. So I've made my negative exponents into positive exponents. And now we use the property that tells us we can multiply, or we can add our exponents when we have the same base and are multiplying. So x squared times x to the first, so that's x to the 2 plus 1, and y squared and y to the third becomes y to the 2 plus 3. And then you add your exponents, you get x cubed divided by y to the fifth. Same answer, just a different way of getting there. So this is just two ways that you could think through how to simplify this problem, and we'll do more practice with this in the next class.